What is poppin' YouTube? Back again with another video. Today we are going live. We are doing a startup mock draft here on this Saturday morning. Appreciate everyone for tuning in here today. Let's go. Like I said, we are doing this startup mock draft. It's a Dynasty startup mock draft. So if this is your first time on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Want you in this community. Want you to be able to do these mock drafts with me. So let us jump in. We got the Mac at the 1-1. We got a good group of guys joining here today. So like I said, if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. If you're watching the replay, welcome. If you are a returning viewer and you're part of this community, and I appreciate you guys watching my videos each and every day, hit that like button. Best free way to support me on this channel as we continue to grow this community. The Mac better not auto. So we'll see. Is the Mac going to auto with the first pick? Come on, boy. Let's see what he does. Should just go Patrick Mahomes, but don't know what he is doing. We are down to 10 seconds. Come on, the Mac. Come on, dude. Oh, goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. This is what happens when you get in sleeper drafts, though. At least it's going to auto. Oh, Josh Allen at the 1-1. Love sleeper doing that. Love when that happens. But Josh Allen, still a good pick. Can't really go wrong at the 1-1, right? How are you guys doing on your Saturday morning? If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Appreciate you guys being here. And I'm on the clock. I totally am missing this out. And I also thought I clicked 30 seconds, so that's on me. But my QB3 currently is still Joe Burrow. I know a lot of people are talking about Jalen Hurts as their potential QB3. And like I get it with the rushing upside, but I'm still very much on the Joe Burrow QB3 footprint. So let me know in the chat. Let me know right now. Are you taking Jalen Hurts or are you taking Joe Burrow at the QB3? Justin Jefferson at the 1-4. Always edit this clock if we want. We will edit this really quick. Appreciate everyone for dealing with the technical issues here on YouTube as we continue to draft. So this is the thing that's interesting. So I know Hurricane just drafted Lamar Jackson. He is the what is a catch. And I've been seeing in a lot of startups here recently that Lamar Jackson, it felt like he was going at like the 1-9, 1-10. Like Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence were both going ahead of him in startups earlier this offseason. And then to now see that Trevor Lawrence is now in this one going ahead of Lamar Jackson is interesting to me because I have Lamar Jackson way higher in my dynasty rankings. I love the rise of Anthony Richardson. I don't know if I can get behind it. Jordan, I know you're a Colts fan, so I know that's why you took him at the 111. I cannot get by taking Anthony Richardson over Deshaun Watson. I think there is a discussion to be had about whether you're taking Kyler Murray or Anthony Richardson. But I mean, I know Deshaun Watson, the pervy Watson, he had a bad year this last year. I just don't know how you can view the first 4 or 5 years of his career and say, yeah, I'm taking the unparalleled rookie that we have no idea what he's going to do. We can assume. We've seen the measurables. We see that he's with Shane Steichen. We have a good idea that he's going to be a very, very good quarterback. I just don't think I can take him over Deshaun Watson. So let me know. Like I said, if this is your first time in the chat, let me know down below. Are you taking Deshaun Watson? Are you taking A-Rich? I want to hear your opinions. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We put out videos each and every day. We want you in these Dynasty startup mock drafts. If this is your first time viewing the channel, welcome. Started creating videos, I would say last year. Wasn't really consistent with it. And then I would say around February of this year, really started picking it up. So if you enjoy Dynasty Fantasy Football and or you enjoy Redraft Fantasy Football, we will be transitioning to that. And you want some of my thoughts along with some of the best people in the space. We have Mason at Dynasty Flock. We have the Fantasy Stock Exchange. Ron Stewart's a good friend of mine. So appreciate all you guys for tuning in here today. Maven, love you, bro. Deshaun over A-Rich all day. I'm glad we're on the same page there. Glad we are on the same page. A lot of people aren't. Clearly, my friend Jordan is not on that same page. And I think this is the other thing with Deshaun Watson. I think a lot of people can't get through their head. Like it's the Big Ben, it's the Antonio Brown, it's the Kareem Hunt type. Like once someone does something bad, like we as a dynasty community like to act like we're like holier than thou, and we can, pick. Who do I want to go here? We got to go to CJ Stroud. We had the nice run on quarterbacks. Two Ohio State quarterbacks. I know Joe Burrow was not an Ohio State quarterback. Sadly, we took Deshaun Watson over him. But I'm back on the clock. This is just always like a rough section. I was hoping Garrett Wilson might fall to me. Kyle Pitts is interesting. Team 1 already left. Typical of them. So we're looking at wide receivers here. I mean, I would love to draft T. Higgins. I am going to draft T. Higgins to get the stack with Joe Burrow. I think there's some wide receivers. I think there's honestly, like, you could argue Chris Olave. If I was going like really win now, I think you could argue Stephon Diggs. I love me some JSN and DK Metcalf, but to be able to get the stack with Joe Burrow at the 3-3 kind of just feels like a wasteland. Like we said, like the 3-3 to about the 3-9 really feels about the same. This feels like a major tier drop off that happened once Garrett Wilson went out the 3-2. Hurricane, on that note, Joe Mixon is the best contending buy right now. Yes, 100%. 100%. I saw someone the other day, they were talking about Joe Mixon being a buy, and I think it depends on what you're buying him for, because if I saw him in a startup, oh my goodness, go in like the 5th round, and I'm like, no. But if you can get Joe Mixon where he's like that 7th back end 6th value, he's going to give you at least top 10 numbers if he plays. I mean, depending on what his workload's going to be like this year. Because I feel like Bengals fans, especially like if you're like oh my goodness, Hurricane, you're listening to me, not drafting. But I know you just got Jahmyr Gibbs, so that's not too bad. Hurricane's also in a few different leagues. The thing with talking about Joe Mixon is the Bengals, I feel like, want to do more of the running back by committee. They just haven't had the running backs. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be Joe Mixon's last season on the Bengals. They'll cut him next offseason. But I do think he's a good buy now. I think Dalvin Cook was up until all this news that he's going to get released, and everyone's getting excited thinking, oh, the Miami Dolphins. Dalvin Cook's price definitely has gone back up. But when you were able to get Dalvin Cook at the back end of the 7th round, like there was no reason to be drafting running backs in the first 5 rounds of your dynasty startups when you could get that type of value. Maven says no evidence he's guilty, but it doesn't matter in the Kangaroo Public Court of Opinion. 100%. 100%. In the Kangaroo Public Court of Opinion, we all like to act like we are better than these guys, which is crazy to say. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Best way to support me here on the channel. We're continuing to grow. We're honestly continuing to grow each and every day. I feel like when we did our last live, which would have been Tuesday, we were at like 170 subs. Now we're up to 184. So we're slowly getting the algorithm. We're slowly building this community. So definitely helps me out. But yeah, like I said, I know we got 4 people watching. So if you could hit that like button, best free way, we can get more people in here, get more people talking, asking questions, which is great. Devontae Smith at the 4-1. Ken Walker at the 4-2, Drake London at the 4-3. I was just talking with Kevin. He's over at the Devi Royale. And we were just talking about Drake London a little bit. I have Drake London. I think there is a case to be made about Drake London or JSN. I'm definitely taking both of those guys over Devontae Smith. I don't know. A lot of people are getting scared off JSN after that video that appeared yesterday of him looking like real small. But he's like 6 foot, 6'1". So I mean, he's a slot guy. I'm on our St. Brown's that size. I don't know why people all of a sudden thought JSN was going to come in at 6'2" when that wasn't his measurables at all. Not as bad as that one view of Bryce Young though. That video was rough. Poor Bryce Young. People were saying like Make-A-Wish Foundation kid. Me with my older brothers, like all sorts of jokes along that line. I thought that was funny. So honestly, after that video came out, when you visually see how small Bryce Young is, can you, like, if you haven't had your rookie drafts already, can you really be taking CJ Stroud behind Bryce Young? I think that's the real question. Are we just banking on Bryce Young being this like prolific quarterback prospect and he's just small? I don't know. We're about to be on the clock here. So probably should start thinking about who we're going to take. If our boy falls to us here, we will be making a hard pivot. Austin Eckler goes at the 4.9. Interesting start there for MNTY. The fact that this man is still here, I mean, we will have to be taking Devontae Adams at the 4.10. I think there is a case to be made of taking Devontae Adams over Drake London, Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, but being able, like, all those guys go off the board and then us being able to just soak it up at the 4.10 makes me feel really good about our start here. We got our 2 quarterbacks, we got our 2 wide receivers. Derrick Henry at the 5.1. Love that sleeper's doing that for team 1. I don't think Derrick Henry should be going in the 5th round, but he has been making a ton of progress here, getting higher in these startup mock drafts. We're back on the clock, and I think we're just going to go. Do we go full win now? Oh, okay. That was a hard one. I was between Deebo Samuel and Christian Watson. I think if I had a younger build, I would have gone. If I didn't take Devontae Adams with my last pick, I would have easily gone with Christian Watson. But since I went with Devontae Adams, I had to take Deebo Samuel. And I know Deebo Samuel's 27 years old. I know people are treating him like a running back. Like a lot of people are throwing him out to dead, but it wasn't only 2 years ago when people were debating that Deebo Samuel was a top 3 dynasty wide receiver. Doesn't that feel like so long ago? But it's crazy how fast values change. But being able to get him in the 5th round, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it was between him, Christian Watson, Ramondre Stevenson. Like, I'll take Deebo, the upside of that. Even though we don't know who the quarterback is. Jordan here is in the chat, and Jordan is a big well, you just traded Trey Lance, but we are both Trey Lance truthers. I'll be honest, I've sold any share that I've had of Trey Lance, and it's just super sad because if you follow Dynasty IM on Twitter, he talks about, oh my goodness, he's like the only first round Konami code quarterback that hasn't put up like 20 fantasy points per game. And I just don't know. The San Francisco 49ers, man, what a weird franchise. There's been like running backs. If you're a running back or quarterback in that organization, you are just screwed because Kyle Shanahan is a mastermind. And since he's a mastermind, he likes to do whatever he wants to do. He'll do whatever. 5.9, Javonte Williams, Daniel Jones at the 5.8, DeAndre Swift making his way up into the middle of the 5th round to what the FIU. I actually, that's the best sleeper name I've seen in a while. I have mine as my name just because I do a lot of these with YouTube, but for a while there, I was the Hernandez Hitman. And that is why my profile picture is of Aaron Hernandez. Because I did, when I was really early on and when I started playing fantasy football, this would have been what? One year it was like maybe my 3rd or 4th year. This would have been what, 2009, 2010. And I took, maybe it was 2011. Crap, I forget. Maybe I was 4 or 5 years in. And I drafted a team where I got Gronk in like the 6th round. And then in like the 8th or 9th round, I drafted Aaron Hernandez. And that was like the year both of them were like the tight end 1 and tight end 2. I need to go back and look at my facts. But it was just an amazing year. That year with Tom Brady, woo, what I would do to go back to those days. And that's kind of like when tight end was valuable. Like, I mean, tight end is still valuable. Travis Kelce's putting up ungodly numbers, but it felt like back then, like you had like 8 tight ends you could choose from that were going to put up relatively the same fantasy points. And now it's like Travis Kelce or bust. Mark Andrews could potentially be up there. We're hoping Kyle Pitts gets up there. TJ Hawkinson had the targets last year. A lot of people are, I think, banking on TJ Hawkinson taking that next step. But appreciate everyone for tuning in. If this is your first time on the channel, then appreciate you guys so much. We are constantly uploading new videos, constantly doing these startups. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you are a returning viewer, very loyal person to this channel, hit that like button. Best free way to support me on this live stream as we're trying to get our message out there, get our message out to the people. JMO at the 5.10. So, taking JMO over Michael Pittman and Jordan Addison is a lot to stomach, especially with the news of the suspension. We're giving him the benefit of the doubt that he wasn't a face planter just because of the injury, but we're even giving him more benefit of the doubt that now he's suspended, that he's just going to come in and be like a Tyreek Hill light type for the Detroit Lions offense. And I just can't get around this value. I have him the places that I have him in my dynasty leagues, I am holding just partially because what are you going to do? You can't really trade him for the value he was, but then you're kind of holding the sunken cost that if he doesn't actually perform, week 7, week 8, we're talking about a plummeting dynasty asset. And so if you could honestly be trading Jamison Williams for Jordan Addison, I feel like I'm doing that. Maybe not for Michael Pittman, but for Zay Flowers and Chris Godwin, I might just take those shots knowing that I'm probably going to not have to take the sunken cost on JMO. But if if Jamison Williams absolutely demolishes, then I might look like an idiot here. We will be taking Treylon Burks at the 6'10". Man, we are really feeling good about how our start happened. We didn't take the young wide receivers, but then we have two youthful wide receivers in T. Higgins and Treylon Burks. And you know what? I was really Cusack. I was hoping J.K. Dobbins. I was hoping someone wasn't going to see J.K. Dobbins just sitting there. We do need a running back, but we'll go wide receiver again since Brandon Ayuk fell to us at the 7-3. I couldn't let him get back to he wasn't going to get past the 7-7, so I definitely needed to take Brandon Ayuk there. I know now I do have both 49ers. I'm pretty heavily invested in the 49ers in this, but I think there's a good shot that Brandon Ayuk, I think he'll definitely play this year, but I can't imagine that by next season, Debo and Brandon Ayuk are both on the team, just based on the contract situation. So we'll have to see. And is it Purdy? Is it Lance? Like we said, we don't know. We'd love it to be Lance. We'd absolutely love it to be Lance. But we're gonna take Brandon Ayuk there. Dalvin Cook at the 7-4. We were debating Dalvin Cook. We are at this point going pretty zero RB. Jordo over there going very heavy RB with CMC, Saquon, and Ken Walker at the 4-2. So I feel like Ken Walker, was going in like the 2-3 turn before the Zach Charbonnet news, and now being able to get him at the 4-2, like I still feel like I'm taking Travis Etienne over Ken Walker. I still feel like I'm probably taking Josh Jacobs over Ken Walker, even in a startup. What are you guys doing? How do you view Ken Walker? Are you putting those right? I would assume you're taking Travis Etienne over Ken Walker. I'm kind of curious why Jordan didn't do that. Or Jordan, if you're in the chat, defend yourself. Defend why you took Ken Walker. Pat Freiermuth, I just saw Dynasty Flock put up a really interesting video about Pat Freiermuth today. So highly encourage anyone to go check that out. Calvin Ridley at the 7-5, White at the 7-7, Kirk at the 7-8, Kirk Cousins at the 7-9. Cole's been talking about the ways when he is, building up his rosters of he's always been like a heavy quarterback guy. And now like to see this build is interesting. Cole, you're definitely getting better at your Dynasty builds. So I like that build for you. Jahan Dotson at the 7-10. Russ at the 7-11. I like to say that. That was sly. 7-11. Russ is cooking at the 7-11. Jared Goff at the 7-12. I still feel like I'm taking Jared Goff over Russ Wilson, even though Russ has the contract. I feel like the Lions are just like Jared Goff is there, and they're not going to be bad enough to get an elite level quarterback next offseason. Like we're talking like, like a Caleb Williams, Drake May, like they might then maybe they'll get Quinn Ewers or something like that. But like that's not enough for me to think that Jared Goff, at least for the next 2 seasons, is going to be the starter for the Detroit Lions. Being able to get them at the 7-12 feels great. Geno Smith at the 8-1. Visible, maybe we need to all follow what Visible does, getting these late round quarterbacks. I just feel like the points per game that you lose out on if CeeDee Lamb and Bijan Robinson is a great start. I just feel like Visible, I might have, if I could have snuck Deshaun Watson in there, let's say you get CD and Deshaun Watson and you miss out on Bijan, but then you still get Najee and then you get these wide receivers. Like I feel like I'm liking that a lot better for your points per game metrics. But at the same time, like you haven't invested anything into quarterback and you still have 2 very good, solid starters that maybe they'll put up back in QB1 numbers. But just depends on how you're trying to build out your team. You built pretty young with their wide receivers. I just get nervous when you draft running backs and you don't have like elite level. I mean, you have CeeDee Lamb, like you kind of like went in all now and we're just banking on these quarterbacks, hopefully pushing you over the edge instead of maybe having like an elite level solid guy that then can like win you weeks. Because I mean, you could argue that Bijan and CeeDee Lamb can win you weeks. But Deontay Johnson at the 8-4. Whew. Deontay Johnson. I saw DLF, their YouTube channel, Justin, he's a creator there. He had a super interesting debate yesterday with a guy who's saying, and like this is like saying how much better George Pickens is than Deontay Johnson. And like I get youthfulness, but like if you're arguing for right now, Deontay Johnson is a better wide receiver than George Pickens. Like based on metrics, based on film, just based on the fact that he gets open. Now, George Pickens looks like the prototypical alpha, acts like the prototypical alpha. Deontay Johnson's probably going to be gone after this year. But yeah, I liked. We are stuck here looking for our running back one. You know what? We'll do it. We'll roll the dice on Devon Achane. We'll roll the dice that Dalvin Cook doesn't end up on the Miami Dolphins and screw up this build for us. But there's a player that I'm hoping falls to us at our next pick. That clearly we should have gone Dalvin Cook because there's some wide receivers I definitely like at this spot. Yeah, if Hop was going to fall to us, we were looking at Hop for our next pick. But like I said, how's everyone doing? How's your Saturday? Appreciate you tuning in on your Saturday. The 5 viewers watching means a lot to have you guys here. We will be drafting Alvin Kamara. We will roll the dice. We need some type of fantasy help here. Some type of fantasy help. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. Best free way, if we can get up to 3 likes, best free way to help me get the stream out to others, especially like it's weird how YouTube works, but hate to keep begging, but would appreciate if you would do that. And if it's your first time on the channel, welcome. Put out a video yesterday talking, what did I talk about yesterday? Oh, talking about running back stashes, running back handcuffs that I think are very valuable. And yeah, we're putting out a video a day at this point. So we're going to record something later. So what would you guys like to see? I know we got 6 viewers. Recording a video to put out later this afternoon. So let me know what type of content, if there's someone that you want. Oh, Albert, bro, it's been a minute. Dude, good to see you. I know you were, Albert, you were really like last year into all the redraft content. We will be getting into a ton of redraft. We'll probably do that switch. I'll probably be putting out Dynasty content for the next like 2 to 3 weeks. And then once we kind of get to June, we're going to do a pretty hard pivot to redraft. But like we're still like, I know a lot of people in this community are very passionate about Dynasty. Like that's my first love too. So like I will be putting out videos about that, but like we're going to start to do a better job. I think Ron Stewart and Fantasy Stock Exchange do a really great job of mixing both their Dynasty and redraft content. And so yeah, we'll definitely be getting both those. But Albert, dude, how you been? Life been good? After I drafted Alvin Kamara, the potentially not playing running back, we had Dalton Kincaid off the board at 9-4, Derek Carr, Kendre Miller, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Michael Mayer, Monty, Mingo. You know, Monty in the 9-10, I know we got that huge contract. Being able to get him in almost the 10th round of your startup, as like Maven just got him as his RB3. Feels really good. Like I feel like that's maybe that's someone that we need to talk about more, because they just signed him to that huge extension. Now, do I think Monty is any better than Jahmyr Gibbs? No, but I think the way that the Lions went to use both their running backs makes it very likely that Monty outscores Gibbs. And if he's outscoring Gibbs, like he's probably getting up into that, you know, Dameon Pierce type range on a points per game basis. And if he's getting that and you're getting him 3 rounds later, ooh, maybe I need to reevaluate my David Montgomery takes. Cole, CP Hellman is the guy in the chat. We give me way too early 24 content to give my hope for my tank. Yeah, so Cole is tanking in one league. He's also going for it in another league. Cole, you're also on the clock. So yeah, hit that draft button. And Cole has Josh Allen. I've been after Josh Allen for, oh goodness gracious, like probably 3 months at this point. And this team that I have is just super built well, and he just keeps asking for all my assets, even though he knows it's an overpay. And so my quarterbacks are Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson. So I really don't need Josh Allen. I just feel like having that Mahomes-Allen stack is something that I've always dreamed of having. But clearly I would have to pay up for it. So haven't done it yet. But yeah, we will definitely be doing some 24 content. I just feel like people are always like, well, talk about you're already jumping. Like you're already like saying the next class is better. I'm like, I'm not saying the next class is better. I just think it's important for us to start to understand, you know, the content. So we do need a tight end, but we're going to let him go. Oh, we're taking James Conner here. Okay. Now I feel better about my running back room. Now I feel better. Put out a video 2 days ago talking about James Conner. Talk about how he's just, if you're a contender, like you're able to trade a middling second round pick for James Conner, who puts up 14 fantasy points per game. And the Arizona Cardinals, now we don't think that the Arizona Cardinals offense is going to be super efficient, but I feel fine. I feel fine with that. So we could go wide receiver. We do need a tight end. I'm thinking our guy's probably going to fall to us, and Jordan already knows who it is. So we'll take another shot on. I have 13 seconds. We're looking at wide receivers here. Anyone that I'm not super excited about, but we'll take Tyler Lockett. We'll take a man that's in the last 3 years. I know he keeps getting up there in age, but last 3 years it's been at least wide receiver 22 or better over the whole season. Now I know that's not on a points per game basis. He's been pretty Mr. Dependable and durable. But getting that guy on your bench, especially when we've kind of built out this roster that we are going to be competing, makes you feel good. Makes you feel good that you got Tyler Lockett there that you can just slide in. Especially like if for some reason, like you can make an argument that Tyler Lockett will actually outperform Burks and Ayuk on my team for this next year. So getting him in the 11th round feels great. Dalton Schultz at the 11-4, Darren Waller at the 11-5. The fall from grace Darren Waller has had. I know he's gotten older. No, he didn't have a good year with the Raiders, and now he's been sentenced to the New York Giants. But I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Darren Waller getting the ball from Daniel Jones, getting to be interacting with Saquon Barkley, you know. Hurricane says, tight end hammer plus your RB would now build up, ended up looking at it, thought I would. Yeah, dude, I'm not, yeah, it's interesting with your team. With them, you know, you went with Mark Andrews at the 4-5. I thought, honestly, getting Mark Andrews that late, with the auto that you had with Jahmyr Gibbs, and then you also were able to get Daniel Jones, and then George Kittle fell to, and then you went super heavy on the wide receivers. Like, I wanted Mike. I was hoping Mike Will. He fell way too far. I thought Amari Cooper fell way too far, and then of course, like, I feel good with that. You're trying to win it now, especially in a tight end premium league. To those watching, this is a tight end premium, so 1.5 fantasy points per catch for a tight end compared to just PPR, 1 fantasy points per catch for a wide receiver, running back. So if you are able to get those tight ends, so maybe I should have grabbed a tight end earlier. I mean, in the 3rd round, maybe I should have gone with Travis Kelce. Maybe I should have gone with Kyle Pitts. Now looking back, but I think those are hard things to do, especially when I knew I had the stack with Joe Burrow. Jordan goes Evan Ingram. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he went with Evan Ingram. We just did a trade where I traded Evan Ingram a few days. This would have been last week. Roshan Johnson at the 11-12. So let me know how many of you, does anyone have any rookie drafts coming up still? Are all of those over with? Are we excited for redraft season? I mean, granted, we're talking Dynasty right now, but do you have any Dynasty startups happening in the next few weeks? I'm hoping to get a few Dynasty startups done in the next few weeks. And honestly, I'm thinking, we haven't made like a channel league yet where everybody on that like follows the channel, watches my videos. Like we don't have like a listener league yet. I'm thinking of doing a listener league. I know we're kind of still a small channel, but I'm thinking about doing a listener league for money. So it wouldn't be free. So I've just had bad results with free leagues. You get people that don't know what they're doing. They don't feel confident. They don't build their teams out the right way. They're trading their 2025 picks in a free league with no intention of staying until 2025. So, yeah, we will definitely be looking to start one of those up here soon. And freaking Maven, Greg Dulcich, man, that was my guy that I was hoping somehow would slip through the cracks and fall to my next pick. So that was actually the trade that me and Jordan made. I traded Evan Ingram. He gave me Greg Dulcich. I already had Kyle Pitts on this team, so I was looking at my tight end too. And I think Greg Dulcich, if you look at good follow, I keep mentioning him, but a good follow on Twitter is Dynasty IM, and was talking about like with the yards per reception and the yards per catch and the after contact ability, like Greg Dulcich is literally on par or even better than George Kittle was. So I think Greg Dulcich, if he gets into full offense, and I know there's all the reports about Sean Payton not, and I'll get to these questions in a second, like not being in love with Greg Dulcich, but I do love some Greg Dulcich. Hurricane says, I'm entering a contending window in my first and favorite Dynasty league. I have the 101 and 104 with a middling RB room. I'm going in on Bijan and Gibbs at those spots. Yeah. I mean, if you're competing, you gotta put your cheapest way to get your high quality RB talent. Otherwise, you're gonna have to pay up for it. And we're on the clock, and we need a. Okay, we'll take Sam Laporta on a. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great to draft Sam Laporta here, but no, I like that. I like that for you, Hurricane. Cole, still have a rookie draft coming up with the 103, 105, and 110. Cole, is this super flex or is this one quarterback? There, because we got to ask that question. I mean, I am a big proponent of super flex, but there are some hooligans out here that are, and granted, all of my like original dynasty leagues are one quarterback. And, we're having the conversations like, how do you transition? Can you transition for a 1 QB to super flex? I'm like, you just can't do that. Like, especially when you've built your rosters in a certain way, but hopefully it's super flex. We are on the clock here. We're looking, I'm going to take Sky Moore. We'll take a shot on the Kansas City wide receiver here at the 13-3. So like I said, if you guys are tuning in for the first time, means a lot for the 6 viewers. So hit that like button, best free way to support me. And second, I want you in this community if you aren't already. So hit that subscribe button. Both ways are free. You can always decide to unsubscribe if I say something that or you lose a ton of money based on something that I told you to do. So highly encourage that. Best means a lot to me. Cole, super flex. Yeah. So if we're at the 1-3, I'm taking, I mean, it depends on who goes, but let's just assume Bijan and A-Rich go. Then I'm probably taking, I don't know. We were just talking about this earlier in the stream. CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young. Like, everyone's going to say Bryce Young. I think I still lean CJ Stroud at the 103 he's been my QB2 this whole time. I just think the difference was Bryce Young fell down a little bit once we saw the measurables, and then A-Rich went up once he got the draft capital of the Colts. And honestly, you might be able to – it's hard to know. It's hard to know what your league mate after you is going to do because, like, if somehow you took Bryce Young at the 103 and they hated CJ Stroud and they took, like, Gibbs or JSN at the 104, and then at the 105 you were able to get, like Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and then you're able to get a wide receiver at the 110, like Zay Flowers. I feel like that'd be a great draft for you. Hurricanes bashing me on dude. If anyone, like, watch the tape, watch the combine, dude has the best arm out of all of them. And I know there's questions about, like, is he mentally strong? Is he mentally smart enough? I feel like those are, I know it's not dumb because Jamarcus Russell was an idiot. And, like, I'm not, like, there are quarterbacks that Ryan Leaf was an idiot. Like, was super talented, but an idiot. And so, like, I know those are the type of discussions we can have, but man, the height on Bryce Young, I know you can throw out, Kyler Murray is small and, like, is killing it, but, like, it's hard. Kyler Murray is also, like, an uber athlete. Like, I know Bryce Young is too, but, like, I don't think Bryce Young has the arm that Kyler Murray has. And yeah, I know CJ Stroud doesn't have a rushing tendency, but I think he has the scramble enough mentality that he's going to have to. I mean, as much as we want to admit, like, the Houston Texans were picking number 2 overall just because they didn't have a good team around them. And they maybe drafted some guys in the 3rd, 4th round, but besides Tunsil on the left side, I think he's going to be pressured a lot. So as the stream's going a long time when your background light goes out. So appreciate everyone still here tuning in as our nice little, like, red light in the back decided to die on us. So that's nice. But I agree. I mean, Hurricane, you can say I'm a homer. I'm just hoping one of these Ohio State, I mean, there's the curse, the Ohio State quarterback curse, and I'm on the clock with 8 seconds. Thank you to whoever was going to let me just draft. I'll draft Arnold Washington. I mean, you could say it's a homer pick, but I don't know. It's just so hard when you're talking, like, Justin Fields has shown out, but I know he's also an uber athlete. And we'll just have to see. But like I said, I appreciate everyone for tuning in here on your Saturday morning as you're about to go do something probably fun. And hopefully you're not working. And if you are working today, apologies that you have to work. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If this is a returning time to a channel, hit that like button. Best free way to support me. Josh Palmer at the 15-7, Rashard Penny at the 15-8. Yeah, we got to do more of these. We got to do more of these because I know this is my favorite part about like putting out content is not only getting to interact with all of you, but like is getting to see these values. Like this is why we play Dynasty so that we can get better like this. CH, Zach Evans, Foreman, Lazard. Anyone want a team review before we call it quits? Hurricane, I'll give you a team review. I know we've kind of already talked about your team, but you went with the Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray stack. I like that for you. Jahmyr Gibbs at the 3-8. Mark Andrews falling to the 4-5. I don't know how it happened in a tight end premium league, but it did. You decided you could have taken anybody, but you decided to get your third quarterback with Daniel Jones to have that leverage over everybody else. Then you go George Kittle. So you honestly have the strength at the tight end position and the quarterback position. You then went with Christian Kirk, Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, and Mike Evans. Now, we did talk about, of course, you don't have a stud wide receiver, but you have a bunch of guys that can just pop off at any week. And especially if you're competing like you are, you don't really care about age. You are trying to get that instant production at wide receiver. We get the late round Alexander Madison pick as your running back too. So our running backs are feeling a little bit weak, but if somehow Dalvin Cook leaves and Alexander Madison's the starter, we love that. Take 3 more shots on wide receivers, and then you get Rashard Penny with your last pick to round out. So your running backs are weak. Let's just put it how it is. But in a dynasty startup, and especially when you've gone so heavy on your quarterback to your tight ends, the most important positions, like you can find flyers on running backs. That's a Scott Connor method. You can trade some seconds to get some legit level running backs. So I do like that team there. Hurricane, you had a good draft, my man. So I'll give you a A minus. I'll give you an A minus. It was a good draft for you. Anyone else want a quick roster review before we call it quits here today? Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone for tuning in here today. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Make sure to tune into that video that's going to be appearing later today, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.